Welcome back, Fantasy Pros. I am Andrew Erickson, and today, breaking down top trade targets for this week's NFL slate. But before I get to my list of trades, unlock the full potential of your team with Trade Central. Pinpoint your strengths, weaknesses, and top trade partners all in one place. Next, stay ahead of the competition by using the Trade Finder to uncover game-changing trades that can take your team to the next level. And finally, before you pull the trigger on any deal, rely on the Trade Analyzer to see how your moves will impact your lineup and your chances of victory. With my playbooks, powerful trade tools at your fingertips, you have everything you need to win every deal and dominate this season. Head to fantasypros.com/myplaybook or download the Fantasy Football My Playbook app today. Now, let's get to the trade list. Pittman Jr, rest of season rank wide receiver 34, sell. Pittman Jr had 5 catches for 37 yards on 8 targets, with an early touchdown catch in Week 5 with Joe Flacco under center. I was on the fence with Pittman as a buy-sell last week, but after this past game, he has entered the must-sell conversation. Anthony Richardson will return at some point this year, and the targets are being spread out between these other Colts wide receivers, regardless of who is the quarterback. Rookie Adonai Mitchell ran 31 fewer routes than Pittman in Week 5, and they posted almost an identical target share. Yikes. Note that per the Fantasy Pros strength of schedule tool, Indianapolis is tied for the number 32nd ranked schedule quarterbacks for the rest of the season. I want to sell Pittman for Tank Dell, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, or this next buy running back. Take Bigsby, rest season rank RB30, buy. Bigsby carried the load with 13 rushes for 101 yards, averaging 7.8 yards per carry, including a long run of 65 yards with 2 touchdowns in Week 5. Carried the ball 3 times in the red zone, also scored. Etienne was less involved, rushing just 6 times for 17 yards with a long run of 4 yards. Snaps are 40% for Bigsby, 38% for Etienne. Season high and season low respectively. In the first half, the split was 4 carries apiece for minimal yardage. Etienne was involved more in the passing game, catching 6 of 7 targets. Bigsby added a catch for 28 yards on a screenplay. We're starting to see more and more of an RB committee form in Jacksonville, with Bigsby as the lead rusher and Etienne as the main pass catcher. On the surface, viewing the situation as buying Tank Bigsby, as Chris Welsh correctly called on the podcast last week, and selling Travis Etienne is simple. And even though I don't think Etienne goes away entirely as the pass catcher in this offense, Bigsby's big runs are impossible to ignore. If anything, I kind of think both guys are buys, if the ambiguous situation is creating a value pocket. Because Etienne has been more than serviceable, 9th overall rushing success rate. This isn't Bigsby isn't great, Etienne sucks conversation. It's Bigsby's great, buy Bigsby, and hold or even buy low on Etienne. And if the coach speak from Doug Peterson about Etienne still being the guy turns out to be nothing more than exactly that, coach speak, we're looking at a potential this year's Kyron Williams with second-year running back Tank Bigsby. Roster good players who are performing, and good things tend to happen. Send Bucky Irving, Darnell Mooney, Rashad White, or this next wide receiver for Tank Bigsby. Christian Kirk, rest season rank wide receiver 41, sell. Kirk added 4 catches on just 4 targets for a 12% target share for 88 yards, including a long catch of 61 in Week 5. But his routes fell to a season-low 68% rate. Kirk's no longer the target hog in this Jaguars passing offense, and it won't improve if and when tight end Evan Ingram returns to the starting lineup as another underneath option for Trevor Lawrence. In 5 games this season, Kirk has 0 top 24 finishes. Ingram has missed the last 4 games. Sell Christian Kirk, Lad McConkey, Rome Odunze, Ty Chandler, Khalil Shakir, or this next under-the-radar running back target, Austin Ekeler, rest season rank RB35. Ekeler was a big player in Week 5, rushing 6 times for 67 yards, including an impressive 50-yard run with an average of 11.2 yards per carry. He had 3 red zone carries. He has looked fantastic this season. He's coming off a 49% backfield high snap share, given Brian Robinson's current knee injury situation. And even though Brian Robinson still played, there's still a chance he's not 100% given his knee injury. That would open up Ekeler for a large opportunity share as both a rusher and receiver in this Commander's backfield that we want pieces of. Even in the committee through 4 games, Ekeler has been a top 30 producer on a points per game basis. Trade for Ekeler with pieces like Zach Moss, Rashad White, Wan'Dale Robinson, or as part of a package for this next running back. Rhamondre Stevenson, rest season rank RB21, sell. Stevenson was the lead rusher for the Patriots in Week 5 with 12 carries for 89 yards, including a long run of 33 and a rushing score. Antonio Gibson contributed 6 rushes for 52 yards. Head coach Rod Mayo was a man of his word. He benched Stevenson for the first drive, with Gibson drawing the start. However, it didn't take long for Rhamondre to start rumbling shortly after that. Stevenson had 3 yards on his 4 catches, while Gibson had 1 target. Still, the final snap count was 50-50, with each running back playing 28 snaps, 47%. The Patriots took out a bad Dolphins team in Week 5, but it's followed up by the Texans, Jaguars, and Jets again in Week 8. If you want out of the Patriots, who doesn't? The move would be to sell high, specifically on Rhamondre. The situation is so fragile that it can be tough to rely on him week to week. If Stevenson were seeing a Kyren Williams-level workload, he'd be fine. But New England's constant effort to entertain the idea of Antonio Gibson is tough. If you're running back on a bad offense, you need to see a ton of volume. I'm not confident that Stevenson will get back up to an elite-level snap share from earlier this year as long as Gibson is healthy. With rookie Drake May slated to start for the Patriots against the Texans, there's newfound optimism that this offense is going to improve. Maybe it does, or maybe it doesn't behind a rookie quarterback and patchwork offensive line. Either way, put Rhamondre on the trade block, see how he's valued in your specific league. Sell him for T. Higgins, Tony Pollard, Zay Flowers, George Pickens, J.K. Dobbins, or as part of a deal for this next wide receiver that I absolutely love, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver 24, rest of the season rank. Thomas Jr. was a standout performer in Week 5, catching 5 of 8 targets for 122 yards and a touchdown. The rookie receiver from LSU has been a certified stud in the pros, but the market still hasn't fully caught up to what BTJ can be this season. A top 12 fantasy wide receiver 1. Currently leads all rookie receivers in receiving yards, ranked 6th overall in that category, averaging nearly 80 receiving yards per game. I want to buy high on Thomas with Aaron Jones, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore, or with this other rookie wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. Rest season ranked wide receiver 12, sell. Harrison only caught 2 of his 7 targets for 36 yards in Week 5. Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison each saw 95 air yards, but Michael Wilson was more productive. It was another up and down game for Harrison, who sometimes looks out of sync with his quarterback Kyler Murray. Now, him and Murray did connect for a key reception at the end of the game. That was the main highlight. Harrison's yards have dropped for 4 straight weeks since his Week 2 eruption spot against the Rams. I want to put him on the trade block and see if someone will overpay based on that Week 2 performance. Despite leading Arizona with a 25% target share this season, Harrison has 30 catches on the team, behind Trey McBride and the aforementioned Michael Wilson. Murray's receivers are not getting open. They are getting open at the 4th lowest separation rate this season, with the rookie ranking dead last in average separation rate at 1.9 per next-gen stats. His sub 50% catch rate ranks 6th worst. Sell high on the name brand for an elite return such as A.J. Brown, Jaden Reed, or this next buy low running back, Kenneth Walker III, rest season rank RB7. Walker had just 19 rushing yards on 5 carries in Week 5, averaging a measly 3.8 yards per carry. Zach Charbonnet, 11 rushing yards on just 2 carries, 5.5 yards per carry with a long of 9 yards. But Walker's usage in the passing game was encouraging. Caught 7 of his 8 targets for 57 yards for 20% target share. His rushing line and final box score were not great, but the receiving usage and snap share at 67% are that of a workhorse running back. We've seen the ceiling with Walker, and I love the usage thus far. The receiving in particular is amazing. I want to buy Ken Walker. Go get him with Alvin Kamara, Garrett Wilson, Devon Achane, but don't sell him for this next running back. J.K. Dobbins, rest of season rank RB23, buy. Dobbins carried the ball 14 times for just 32 yards back in Week 4, caught all 4 of his targets for 30 yards, while seeing a strong 71% snap share. It's been back-to-back games when the Chargers last played, where Dobbins dominated the snaps and touches over Gus Edwards. Once the Chargers get their offensive line healthy along with Justin Herbert post-bye week, I think Dobbins is going to be cooking. Buy low off the bye week with running backs like Najee Harris, Chuba Hubbard, Rhamondre Stevenson, or Rico Dowdle to get J.K. Dobbins. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, rest of season rank wide receiver 8. Wilson was the only bright spot in the Jets passing game in Week 5, hauling in 13 of 22 targets for 101 yards. Wilson had 4 red zone targets, catching 2 of them and scoring 1 touchdown. If you have Wilson, you're thrilled with his performance. However, it's still overshadowed by the fact it took Wilson 22 targets to reach his first 100-yard game of the season. With the Devontae Adams rumors for trades heating up in New York, especially with Robert Saleh gone, Aaron Rodgers might get his guy. You have to put Wilson on the trade block and see if you can get any bites. I don't like a scenario where Wilson is competing for targets with 2 of Rodgers' ex-Packers teammates between Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard in gangrene. That does it on my player trade list for this NFL slate. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends, just not your league mates. And again, before you go, don't forget, Unlock the full potential of your team with Trade Central. Pinpoint your strengths, weaknesses, and top trade partners all in one place. Dominate your deals today at fantasypros.com/myplaybook. Thanks for watching, and good luck in the trade streets.